Hey everybody, welcome to Bones and Brews. Today we are going to make a smoked buffalo corn dip. So let's get started. So for this recipe, we're going to take a little twist on a smoked street corn and make it a buffalo style for our corn dip today. So here's what we're doing. I've got some corn here. This is fresh corn that actually I had grilled up inside the shooks and then came back, peeled the shooks off, pulled it off there. So this is actually grilled corn. You can smoke the corn. You can even use just like a canned corn and maybe char it a little bit if you like. Whatever's easiest for you. It doesn't have to be complex for this recipe. The easiest way to get yourself some corn. And so we'll throw all these ingredients. I'm going to throw them in my cast iron here before I put them on the smoker. I've got my Weber Smoky Mountain going behind me at about 300 degrees. So let's get all those ingredients in here. Because I'm using that cast iron, and I'm going to let things just kind of melt together and come back about halfway through the smoke and start to really mix together. I'm going to take my cream cheese and place it right there in the center of that pan. And then what I'll do is I'll take my corn. I've got about three and a half cups of corn here. You could probably get away with anywhere between 3 and 4 cups of corn for this. Doesn't have to be an exact science. It just has to taste good. All right. Next, I'm going to go in, throw in some mayonnaise. I love Duke's Mayonnaise. So we're going to use about a half a cup of mayo here. And then I'm going to use 2 cheeses on top of the cream cheese. I've got about a cup of shredded cheddar. And also got myself about a cup of shredded pepper jack cheese. We'll put in there as well. And some of the other ingredients I've got some chopped up red bell pepper, some chopped jalapeno. You can put as much or as less of that as you like in there. Of course, is how spicy you like it. I'm going to use some chopped, diced up here, some red onion. And then we're going to come in and throw in some other ingredients. You can use your favorite buffalo wing sauce, a Frank sauce, whatever you have. This is just one from a local store here in town. I'm going to put about a half a cup of that in there as well. I'm going to come back on top of that. I'm going to also add about a half a cup of ranch dressing. Once again, whatever type of ranch dressing you want to use will be just fine here. And then we're going to top it off with just a couple of more ingredients. So next thing I'm going to do, next wet ingredient we're going to use is I'm going to go and throw in about a third of a cup of heavy cream. And last but not least, a couple of seasonings. You can use any kind of chili powder seasoning you have. I'm going to use a Mexican seasoning here. This Mexican chili powder. Just sprinkle just a little bit of that across the top. And then I've also got a local hot sauce dust from Hot Charlie's here in town. A lot of places make their own like hot buffalo wing dry dust or dry rub. So I'm going to throw just a little bit of that on there as well. We're going to use some of that later too when it's all done as a garnish. All right, so I'm going to get this on the smoker. It should take us about 45 minutes to an hour because we got a little bit of a lower temperature. If you're making this in the house in the oven, you obviously go a little higher, about 400 degrees if you wanted. But I'm definitely a little slower on the smoker. Come back, I'm going to probably check in about 20 minutes, stir it up a little bit, and then we'll let it go until that cheese, everything's melted and blended together really well. Let's get it on the Weber Smoky Mountain, my friends. All right, friends, that dip is ready. Let's get it off the smoker. Oh, yeah. Look at that, my friends. We're going to let it sit right there. And we're going to start garnishing this, getting it ready to go. I'm going to let it cool for just a minute or two before we get those garnishes on there because I don't want them to really melt right on top. I really wanted that to look great when we serve it here in a few minutes. All right, so we're going to get the garnishes on the dip here. I've got a few items I'm going to put on here. You could add whatever you like. Take some of these. Maybe there's other things that I'm putting on here you don't like. Whatever you do, just, whatever type of garnishes that you typically like on top of a buffalo chicken dip or any type of buffalo chicken or anything like that, anything with that buffalo sauce. So I'm going to start with a little bit of actually queso fresco. Since we got a little bit of a Mexican theme here, I'm going to crumble some of that right across the top of that. That's just going to give it a really good flavor. People are going to enjoy that for sure. I actually really enjoy blue cheese as well when I'm making something that has that buffalo chicken's flavoring, or buffalo sauce flavoring. So I'm going to add a little blue cheese crumbles on there as well. Not too many, just a little bit. Kind of mix it up a little bit as well. And then we need a little more color, a little more flavor here. So a little bit of fresh chopped cilantro. And I've also sliced up some fresh green onions. We'll throw those on there as well. And then last but not least, I'm going to top it off with just a little bit more of that hot sauce dust. All right, my friends, this is probably still a little bit hot, so I'm going to grab it here so you can take a look. And there we are. There is our buffalo chicken, or buffalo corn dip right off that Weber Smoky Mountain. I'm so used to saying buffalo chicken because I make that dip so much. All right, so we're going to let this cool for another moment. I'm going to grab some tortilla chips. I'll be right back. All right, my friends, I've got everything on my pan here. I got some tortilla chips on there. Through that cast iron as well, so I can just carry it right on in the house and let everybody enjoy. But before they enjoy it, we need to enjoy it together. So I grab a chip here. Make sure I get a little bit of that queso fresco on there as well. Some of that green onion, cilantro. Oh yeah, it's still a little bit of steam coming out, still nice and warm. Wow. So the first thing that hits me is really that buffalo sauce is not over the top. It's just a light taste of that buffalo through there, kind of that blend of the buffalo and that ranch. And then there's cheeses across the top, that cream cheese. It's just not a real thick consistency. It will thicken up as it cools off a little bit more. The corn, I can tell that I had grilled that corn a little bit, so it has that grilled corn taste to it. I think if I would use like a canned corn, probably wouldn't get as much fresh flavor from that. But that's, and when I grill that corn, I'd put some season on the corn before I pull those husks back over as well. So I can tell that I did that little extra piece of work there to make it have a great flavor. This is really good. I really like the taste of the red onion in there. I was debating red. I've always debated red or like a yellow white onion, when to use the different types of onions, but that red onion really complements this as well. And for me, I really like the mix of cheeses across the top. So having that queso fresco and that blue cheese is a perfect blend as well. You, my friends, can really play with this recipe at home. You can maybe do, like I said earlier in the episode, how you make your corn, play with that a little bit. Also, I had used ranch dressing in this recipe. Maybe you're a blue cheese person. Maybe you want blue cheese dressing. You can also experiment at home as well. You'll find the full recipe of this one in the description of this episode. Like all of our episodes, we really hope you enjoy our recipes. If you like what we're doing, make sure you hit that subscribe button. We really appreciate it when you do that as well. Thanks for watching. We'll see you guys again on Bones and Brews.